the headlines of this hour on VTV News. National Assembly discusses salary reform. And Prime Minister calls for solidarity, cooperation for development. In our world news, Russian Navy frigate conducts drills in the Atlantic.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyen Tan with the top stories. On Tuesday, the National Assembly discussed salary reform, pension adjustments, social insurance allowances, preferential allowances for meritorious individuals, and social allowances effective from July 1st. More in this following story.
Deputies discussed the difficulties in the salary reform process while acknowledging the government's efforts and preparations for the largest salary increase ever.
The implementation of salary reform demonstrates a strong determination, closely following the party's Resolution 27, for ensuring equality among recipients of salaries and allowances in society. It also enhances the living standards of these recipients, creating motivation to improve productivity and contributing to socioeconomic development. The adjustment of the base salary from $70.70 to $90.34 per person per month is significant.
According to the plan following the party's Resolution 27, the total salary over 3 years was estimated at about $30.87 billion. However, due to a 30% increase in the base salary and an additional 10% in bonuses, the total amount has risen to $35.87 billion. This represents an increase of $4.99 billion compared to the plan presented to the National Assembly during the 6th session.
Some deputies expressed confidence that the government will control inflation well and proposed several measures to refine the reform plan.
This salary increase affects only about 4% of laborers. The total number of laborers receiving salaries in both the public and private sectors is about 51 million. Of these, about 1.9 million are paid from the state budget. Additionally, the 2% tax reduction policy will contribute to stabilizing the macroeconomy and controlling inflation.
Some deputies suggested that the government constructs a specific roadmap to implement the remaining 2 aspects of salary reform, especially focusing on building salaries according to job positions to address the shortcomings of the current salary regime.
Prime Minister Phie on Tuesday delivered a keynote speech at the ongoing World Economic Forum, or WEF, annual meeting of champions held in Liaoning Province, China. This is the third consecutive time that WEF has invited Prime Minister Phie to attend its annual meeting. This demonstrates WEF's high regard for Vietnam and its appreciation for the country's contributions to discussions on global issues, and sees Vietnam as an inspiration in innovation, integration, and development.
Addressing the opening ceremony, Prime Minister Phie held that the future global development hinges on 3 primary areas and is shaped and propelled by 3 key factors. The 3 areas include the rapid advancement of science and technology and innovation, the profound impacts of climate change, natural disasters, resource depletion, and an aging population, and the growing fragmentation and polarization fueled by conflicts, wars, and global-scale geostrategic, geopolitical, and geo-economy competition. The 3 catalyzing factors include the development of the digital economy, the development of the green economy and circular economy, and the development of high-quality human resources and AI and the 4th Industrial Revolution. To embark on the next frontiers for growth, he called for solidarity, unity, cooperation, and development. He suggested that the WEF, its partners, developed countries, and the business community enhance their roles in offering guidance providing support and fostering collaboration with poorer developing countries.
It's important to strengthen and refine institutions of market economies, mobilize and efficiently utilize all resources, and enhance the effectiveness of national governance. It is also crucial to provide support and assistance resources for the development of strategic infrastructure systems. Another area is transferring advanced technologies and support for the training and development of human capital, particularly in high-quality human resources. We propose enhancing international cooperation in making, planning and implementing policies at the global level. We need to strengthen cooperation for growth, and coordinate more closely in management of dynamic, proactive, flexible, timely and effective monetary policy combined with cautiously open fiscal policy. Public investment should lead private investment. Trade and investment liberalization should also be bolstered to stimulate short-term total demand, and positively impact the total supply in the long term.
The Prime Minister spoke highly of the role of China in global economic growth. He pledged that Vietnam, alongside ASEAN, would deepen collaborations with China, the World Economic Forum, and other partners to champion new drivers of growth. He added that Vietnam will make every effort to maintain and strengthen an environment of peace, stability, cooperation, and development in the region and the world.
On Tuesday, Prime Minister Phie had a working session with the informal gathering of world economic leaders. In his remarks, Prime Minister Phie observed that international cooperation is more critical than ever for achieving inclusive, sustainable, and comprehensive growth in the context of increasing geopolitical and geo-economic divisions. He shared lessons from Vietnam's macroeconomic management experience and emphasized 5 priority solutions to foster cooperation toward economic growth. These include developing and reforming the global economic governance system, establishing a framework for macroeconomic policy coordination, and promoting a trade and investment liberalization. He emphasized that it is also imperative to enhance cooperation, to mobilize development resources, and focus on strongly promoting new growth drivers. Prime Minister Phie also emphasized Vietnam's policy on promoting innovation-driven economic growth while attending a dialogue with the World Economic Forum, or WEF's startup and innovator community, as part of the WEF's annual meeting. He said that innovation has become one of the main drivers of economic growth in every country, especially in the era of globalization, international integration, and the fourth industrial revolution. As such, Vietnam has used public investment to guide private investment and harness every social resource to facilitate innovation and startups. He said many world-leading technology firms like Google, Apple, Intel, Synopsys, Meta, and NVIDIA have been moving to invest in Vietnam. During the dialogue, Prime Minister Phie addressed numerous questions from WEF enterprises regarding mechanisms, policies, and solutions to support startups and innovation activities in Vietnam, data security and usage issues, and plans to help Vietnamese youth engage in emerging industries. He emphasized that Vietnam always welcomes foreign enterprises, creating favorable conditions for them, listening to their concerns, and promptly resolving any difficulties and obstacles to ensure long-term sustainable development in the country. Prime Minister Phie met with Polish President Duda on the sidelines of 15th World Economic Forum WEF annual meeting on Tuesday. The Vietnamese Prime Minister thanked Poland for supporting Vietnamese citizens victimized by the shopping center fire in Warsaw in May. The two sides agreed to promote bilateral relations to a new height in the coming time. Prime Minister Phie proposed that the two countries continue strengthening the exchange of delegations at all levels, especially at a high level, and increasing visits of officials via the party channel, and promoting economic, trade, investment, cultural cooperation, and people-to-people exchange. Polish President Duda expressed his admiration for Vietnam's socio-economic achievements, underlining that Vietnam is Poland's current biggest partner in Southeast Asia. He hopes Vietnam will create favorable conditions for Polish firms to export goods to Vietnam and strengthen cooperation with their Vietnamese peers in new areas, such as renewable energy and tourism. Later, Prime Minister Phie met with the co-chair of South Korea's Presidential Commission on Carbon Neutrality and Green Growth and the chairman of the China Railway Signal and Communication Corporation. More in the following.
During the meeting with Kim Sang-hook, co-chairperson of South Korea's Presidential Commission on Carbon Neutrality and Green Growth, Prime Minister Phie emphasized that there are ample opportunities for cooperation between Vietnam and South Korea. He requested South Korea's continued support in research and development, innovation, and the implementation of strategic tasks related to climate change adaptation and greenhouse gas emission reduction, based on the framework agreement on climate change cooperation between the two governments. The South Korean co-chair affirmed that the Presidential Commission on Carbon Neutrality and Green Growth would actively assist Vietnam in successfully organizing the Partnering for Green Growth and Global Goals Summit next year.
Meeting with the chairman of the China Railway Signal and Communication Corporation, the Prime Minister requested the corporation and its Chinese partners to engage in consulting, sharing experiences, investing, designing, and constructing railways in Vietnam. He also urged their support for Vietnam in training human resources, transferring technology, facilitating digital transformation, and mobilizing capital. The Prime Minister underscored several specific railway projects Vietnam aims to promptly implement, including the Lào Cai-Hà Nội - Hải Phòng, the Đồng Đăng - Hà Nội and Móng Cái - Hạ Long - Hải Phòng routes, all linked to China. Additionally, he emphasized enhancing the connectivity of standard gauge railways across the Vietnam-China border and advancing urban railway projects in Vietnam.
Coming up next on VTV News. Work begins on Vietnam-Singapore Industrial Park in Hà Tĩnh. And let's see how Nậm Khắt changed from a drug hotspot to new style rural commune. Now, in a telegram on strengthening price management and control measures, Prime Minister Phie requested ministry, branches and localities to continue closely monitoring market developments and avoid goods shortages, hoarding, speculation and unreasonable price increases. Therefore, Ho Chi Minh City has required businesses and traditional market traders to strengthen price control, plan to reserve goods, and stabilize the consumer goods market until the end of the year. This is also a way to stabilize the market and help consumers buy goods at affordable prices.
Ho Chi Minh City's Department of Industry and Trade states that the market stabilization program is the most effective tool in controlling prices. It contributed to the May CPI increasing by only 0.15% and the 5-month cumulative increase of 3.24% over the same period, which is lower than the national average. This tool will continue to be promoted in the second half of the year.
The market can now maintain good prices and quality, thus attracting more consumers. I could always buy groceries for the entire week.
Although pig prices fluctuate daily, businesses still keep the selling price 5 to 10% lower than the market price at $2.6 per kilogram.
We will continue to review costs to adhere to a certain budget and work with input partners to ensure stable prices. With these budgets, we plan to invest in promotions.
Meanwhile, rice businesses have proactively increased their reserves by 45 times compared to the same time last year. In addition to businesses, traditional markets in the Ho Chi Minh City are also strengthening control of prices and quality, as well as weighing and listing prices.
Businesses with stable sales will follow the market stabilization program. For other items, trade publicizes the selling price with the participation of market and local management boards.
The first phase of Ho Chi Minh City's centralized promotion program officially kicks off in mid-September. 10 to 15 promotional events will be held in various locations to help consumers shop for goods at preferential prices.
Construction started on a Vietnam-Singapore Industrial Park, or VSIP, in the central province of Hà Tĩnh on Tuesday. The first phase of the Hà Tĩnh VSIP project covers 190.41 hectares in Thạch Hà district and has a total investment of $60.8 million. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony, Deputy Prime Minister Trần Hồng Hà highly praised VSIP Group, a brand associated with a chain of industrial parks and industrial, urban and service complexes in many localities across the country. The strong development of VSIP Group is evidence of the strong and long-term friendship between Singapore and Vietnam. Since the first park was established in 1996 in the southern province of Bình Dương, VSIP has succeeded in replicating the model in 13 provinces and cities across Vietnam. The Hoành Mô Dong Trong border gate officially opened on Tuesday. This event marks a significant step in realizing the viewpoints, goals, orientations, and solutions outlined in the development plans for the Hoành Mô Đồng Văn border gate economic zone and the Bắc Phong Sinh border gate economic zone. This has been approved and directed by the government, central ministries, relevant sectors, and Quảng Ninh province. This opening lies an important foundation for Vietnam and China to proceed with planning, construction, attracting investments, upgrading infrastructures, and facilitating entries and exits, as well as import and export activities. It also aims to enhance people-to-people exchanges and support both nations' socio-economic development. Individuals are now able to receive a land use rights certificate in just a day. This smoother process for land-related matters is a result of the determination of localities regarding administrative procedural reforms. The land sector used to have the longest processing times and required the highest unofficial costs from citizens. However, Tuy Hòa City of Phú Yên province has introduced a dedicated week to handle land administrative procedures, bringing positive changes to the sector.
Lê Thị Kim Oanh, a resident of Quarter 6, Ward 2, finally saw her long-held dream come true, receiving a land use rights certificate for her family's land. The Tuy Hòa City People's Committee issued the certificate on the very same day.
I was very surprised because I didn't think I could get the certificate within a day. I'm very happy.
Each month, Tuy Hòa City leaders and relevant units have a week dedicated to handling land-related procedures and support the locals in the process. Easy cases are prioritized for completion within a day. For more complicated cases, officers instruct applicants to rely on any needed documents.
We solved the previous issue of sending files back and forth between departments in the reviewing process. By sitting back together, we can cut the handling time to a day compared to 12 days in regulations.
During the dedicated week of handling land-related administrative procedures, Tuy Hòa City successfully handled 71% of the records faster than the previous time frame.
Nậm Khắt commune was once a hotspot for drug trafficking and among the most poverty-stricken commune in Mù Cang Chải district in Bate province. Drug addiction and crimes led to several issues on security and order, pushing many households into poverty. As a result, local authorities have deployed drastic actions to push back drug abuse in the area. Nậm Khat has become the first commune to meet new rural standards in Mù Cang Chải district this year.
This is a visit by Nậm Khat commune officers. Thao A Lung has successfully quit drugs for 3 years. He has not relapsed and has a stable health condition. He can help his wife in many daily tasks.
Before, when I was addicted, I used to hang out with other addicts. Now that I'm clean, I can do all sorts of things like planting corn, farming, and gathering pigweed.
The number of addicts has decreased significantly. In 2023, the commune police arrested 1 drug case with 2 subjects for illegal drug trafficking.
In 2001, Giang A Phong was sentenced to 12 years in prison for drug trafficking. Due to his good behavior, he was released early and received government support for loans to start a business. His family's livestock farming model has grown steadily and has become a model for economic development in the locality.
The government supports early releases. It has been 13 years since then. I'm determined to never return to drug trafficking. I stay at home to raise pigs, chickens, and goats, taking care of my family.
We will continue to deploy the program in other villages. Many models have supported local households to improve income, thereby increasing the number of communes reaching the new rural target.
From a drug hotspot, Nậm Khat has now transformed itself into the first new rural commune in Mù Cang Chải district. This achievement is the result of the determination and collective efforts of the commune in the fight against drug abuse.
Now is the time to admire the beauty of terrace fields in Hoang Su Phi, Hà Giang province in the pouring water season. Terrace fields are a typical form of farming for ethnic groups, and they are also associated with the history of each ethnic group living in the northern mountainous region. The terraces are the result of the ethnic community's hard work, the accumulation of experience and creativity in bringing wet rice cultivation to the high mountains. Terrace fields in the rice planting season, also known as the pouring water season, have been and are one of the unique tourism magnets of the Hoang Su Phi district. For generations, the Mông, Dao, Nùng, Tày, and La Chi ethnic groups in the Hoang Su Phi district have labored to create terrace field masterpieces that look like idyllic landscape paintings. Coming up next in our world news, Russian Navy frigate conducts drills in the Atlantic. And South Korean authorities investigate a deadly battery factory fire. Now moving on to our world news, Russia's Amaro-Gorshkov Navy frigate conducted drills in the Atlantic Ocean, searching for submarines using a helicopter on Tuesday. This is the frigate which sailed to Cuba earlier in June. According to Russia's defense ministry, the helicopter crew practiced tactical techniques for searching and tracking submarines in the Atlantic Ocean. At a distance of more than 50 kilometers from the ship, the pilots carried out a set of measures to search for the submarines. The Amaro-Gorshkov frigate and a nuclear-powered submarine Kazan sailed into Havana Harbor on June 12, after conducting high-precision missile weapons training in the Atlantic Ocean. France, Germany, and Poland announced plans on Monday to join forces to buy longer-range precision weapons. This move aims to fill a gap in European arsenals that they say has been exposed by Russia's war in Ukraine. According to the defense ministers from the 3 countries in the Weimar Triangle Group's meeting in Paris, they would set up a mechanism to procure deep precision strike weapons, such as cruise missiles, which other European powers could join. Unlike ballistic missiles, cruise missiles fly low over the ground, making them harder to detect by radar. Europe's existing stocks of cruise missiles include relatively old and expensive systems, such as Britain's Storm Shadow, France's Scale, and Germany's Terris. The South Korean government ordered on Tuesday urgent safety inspections at high-risk industrial site. The order came a day after a fire at a lithium battery factory that killed 22 workers, with one person still missing.
South Korean officials were investigating the possible cause of a deadly fire in a lithium battery manufacturing center in Hwaesing City, just south of Seoul. More than 100 people were working at the factory when the fire tore through it Monday morning.
Regarding the fire that took place at the battery factory, 40 officials from 9 related departments, including the police and labor department, will conduct a joint inspection to find out the cause of the fire.
The CEO of the battery manufacturer apologized on Tuesday for the fire, saying the company would cooperate closely with the investigation to prevent a recurrence. Of the 23 deaths, 17 were Chinese and 1 was Laotian.
It's really sad that the foreign workers came here to make money. It would have been great if they survived, made money, and lived well with their families after returning to their hometown.
The blaze broke out inside a warehouse with 35,000 lithium batteries, producing toxic smoke. According to the fire official, the workers likely lost consciousness and succumbed within seconds. The fire was the latest industrial accident in a country where dozens of manufacturing workers lose their lives on the job each year despite repeated calls to improve workplace safety.
China's lunar probe returned to Earth on Tuesday with rock and soil samples from the little explored far side of the moon in a global first. The probe landed in northern China in the Inner Mongolian region. The return samples include 2.5 million-year-old volcanic rock and other material. Chinese scientists anticipate they will answer questions about geographic differences on the moon's 2 sides. While past U.S. and Soviet missions have collected samples from the moon's near side, the Chinese mission was the first to collect samples from the far side. The probe left Earth on May 3rd, and its journey lasted 53 days. The lander and ascender combination successfully landed at a predetermined landing site in South Pole Aitken Basin on the far side of the moon. It completed collecting samples in 2 days. Now let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.